Hello, welcome back to Marlowe House Presents. We're playing Scoundrels of a Stranger Sky. I am Andrew.
I'm Scott, playing Zotch Colbin.
I'm Monica, playing This Game Makes Me Drink. Oh, I'm sorry. Olara Gebbins.
I'm just going to go on record real quick by saying that if we actually had a baby dragon named Sulfur Fart, I would totally claim that.
Yes.
You would claim the sulfur fart?
I would claim the Sulfur Fart.
So for those of you who are joining us after not watching the first two episodes, first of all, go back and watch the first two episodes. But
You'll thank us.
You'll thank us.
Or not.
Or not. Or maybe not. But in the last two episodes, our intrepid
Scoundrels,
because you can't call us heroes, have, well, first we stole a ship, and then we jettisoned ourselves and the contents of a chest in the escape pod, only to have the contents of said chest, which were 4 dragon age eggs, hatch, and 4 baby dragons are now imprinted upon our characters. And now we're in the Scoundrel Moon trying to figure out just what the heck 2 scoundrels are going to do with 4 baby dragons.
We have ducklings, but they have claws and teeth.
And fire.
they're little drakes.
Fires.
And fires. And
So-
in case you missed it, we spent the last hour laughing.
Yeah,
We really did.
you're welcome.
We did nothing but laugh for the last hour.
So, the other thing that happened... Is
Something
that
else happened?
Yeah. You guys had gone and you fed the dragons, and you went back and you stayed tried to stay in a hotel room, only to have the dragon set fire to the furniture.
Because
And
they're
so you were
ill-mannered
bailing on the
dragons.
place, but before you could get out of the building, you spotted the captain from the ship that you stole.
Oh, that's right.
So what you're saying is he brought the ship back to us. That was very nice of him.
Well, that's assuming he brought that ship, because we set it up to not be able to function. So that would be awesome. Then we could get our ship back. Or his other ship. I mean, I don't care.
We could take the big ship.
We could take the big ship. Let's just go do that.
Big ship might require more people than you have.
We've got 4 dragons. I mean, what could stop us now? A
Super
lot.
easy to pilot a ship, even if they're just eating navigation. These stupid things will eat anything.
Apparently, we had to stop them from eating metal and all sorts of stuff. They're like friendly cats with fire. Okay, so do we want to try to? We'll definitely want to avoid this guy. Do we want to try?
How are you going to try to avoid him? At this moment, you can see he is interrogating one of the cleaning crew.
So we're gonna walk the other way. There's probably a better way to do that.
Okay, so you're just going to walk away.
Well, I don't know. What do you think, Scott?
I think you should take the children and walk them down a stairwell.
While we do that, we're going to sing "Climb Every Mountain."
That sounds like a terrible idea.
It's an awful idea.
What are you talking about? Sounds fantastic. Okay, we're
No,
not
so-
going to sing.
All right, so seriously, what are you doing?
Should
Well, I do have stealth, so I gather the brood and head in the opposite direction.
So you're going to attempt to stealth.
I am going to attempt to stealth with 4 baby
With
dragons.
babies.
I mean, which could possibly go wrong?
made of fire and
Made
magic
of fire and magic. I mean,
and teeth.
yes, I'm
Okay.
lucky, right? Am I rolling? I'm
You are rolling.
We're rolling.
What are you doing
rolling.
at this point? While she's trying to sneak them across the hall.
I rolled a 15. I rolled a 15 with stealth.
Okay.
I'm basically going to be the lookout at this point.
Okay.
What a wimpy
So you're gonna like stay in the room and kind of like look out. All right, so she makes it across the hall.
I also sing dun 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 dun. Tim Stone will listen to this one day and he will laugh his butt off.
Other people will. The last time I talked to him about it, he didn't really remember it. I know.
What a
Made me sad.
disappointment.
Made me sad.
What a disappointment. So I have theme music,
Okay.
and it works.
So you sneak across the hall, and
Once she is clear, I will move across the hall.
all right, she is clear, and you start to move across the hall. Go ahead and give me your stealth roll.
13. I am not trained.
You are not trained.
You didn't sing the music.
That's my problem.
That's the problem.
I don't go for classical.
Fortunately, it's just enough. And you sneak across the hallway. But
Oh no, he's giving us XP again. God, I hate you.
It's a terrible idea.
Yes.
as you start to sneak across the hall, slime
Of course.
goes darting back up the stairs towards you, and thumps the wall as you're like disappearing around the corner. And
Back here.
Scoop him up.
scoop him up. He snaps at you.
Flick him on the nose. Ah,
I can see we're gonna have to get asbestos underwear.
it's squirt bottles.
Between the thump and the sudden flare of light, you're pretty certain you've probably gained somebody's attention.
We should go.
Yes, we should definitely go.
And you hear thump, 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 thump down the hallway. So you start.
We should have left the room on fire.
Yeah, we should have. What were we thinking?
So you start running down the staircase. One of the little dragons jumps off the side and kind of does a light glide to the stairwell basin below you,
Okay.
and looks very proud of himself.
Very good, sweetie. Now come on. And I pick him up and keep running. What?
Go, 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 go.
You hear the door bang above you, and we're gonna do a little bit of. We're gonna do a little bit of a skill challenge here.
I think this is a terrible spot to do that.
This
but
is-
okay.
So, at this point, what we're looking at is you guys are heading down about 4 flights of stairs through the hotel. Kind of tell me what skill you want to use, and we're going to kind of do this as like a chase montage.
I'm thinking climbing.
So, if you want to do something like climbing, tell me how you're doing it. If you want to use like stealth, tell me how you're doing it. You need to get between the two of you 4 successes before you get 3 failures.
I think Andrew's a terrible GM, Scott. Would you like to run next week?
That sounds like an amazing and terrible idea.
All right. Well, I have balancing
So
stealth and
take turns,
climbing,
basically tell me what you're
so-
doing. Because it's not just the guy chasing you. As you guys come through the building,
Uh-huh.
there are others in the building.
Okay.
Other members of his crew are also here.
All right.
And you've got these 4 dragons.
I I think my next skill I'm gonna take, Scott, is gonna be herding.
Not a bad idea at this
Herding,
point.
herding is probably a good choice.
Okay. All right. So,
So I mean, it really this isn't a very difficult one.
no, it's not. I'm gonna go ahead and use stealth the first time around. I think.
So, how are you using that? I'll help you out with the
That's
first
never
couple.
gonna work.
So if you want to use stealth, you could sneak out a floor early and like try to creep down without him seeing you creeping down a hallway, and hope that maybe you lose him. I mean, at the moment, he's kind of got eyes on you.
If that's
So-
the case, then no. I'm gonna do climbing, and I'm gonna drop.
You're just gonna like drop
I'm gonna
floors.
I'm gonna drop a floor
Okay.
with a 14 on the die and trained in climbing.
And this is also a good time for you guys. You can split up, and you'll each basically keep your
Our part of
linked
the brood.
dragon. Yeah.
Okay, so we each have 2 dragons.
With the
at that
assumption
point.
being at the end of this montage scene, you would link back up unless something goes terribly wrong.
Okay,
All right.
so you've got 2.
So this is like one of those movie scenes where
Well, I've got slime in tow.
Mhm.
I assume Ooh is following me.
yes.
We will slip out onto a floor,
Okay.
and then if I happen to run into any one of the captain's crew,
Okay.
I am holding a dragon. I'll just give him a little underarm tickle and get him to breathe fire with some intimidation.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
So you're gonna basically
Behold my baby!
so you like slip down into this hallway, and sure enough, there's one of his guys, and you basically flamethrower the dragon in his face, trying to get him to like turn away so you can
Take a
You-
corner.
take a corner. All right, so go ahead and roll intimidation for me.
As it happens, I am specialized.
Okay.
In flamethrower? I mean,
I'm going to slap some effort on it, too.
So you're like, I'm not afraid of.
This is 16. I'll take a 16.
Okay, so he like dives to the side and ends up in like one of the plowing through one of the maids' trolleys and sends white linens everywhere.
Are we in New York by chance?
No.
Because
I'm gonna need to finish this adult drink.
I feel like I've been slimed.
And you bang through another door for another flight of stairs down. So that's 2 successes out of the way. Monica, what are you doing this time?
Oops, sorry.
And you try to use something other than climb.
Okay. So
You're on a landing.
I'm on a landing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to use balancing to slide down the next set of railings. So I gather up my brood
And
we slide down.
okay.
So I like,
Are we audio only?
Are we audio only? We shouldn't be.
nope, we shouldn't be. Why?
I'm only showing the episode will resume shortly.
Nope. I have video feed.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
See, it was making me hit the play button.
See?
Ah, see?
All
It just wasn't showing me the play button.
That stinks. All right, so I've got so I'm balancing, and it's a 12 on the die.
Okay. So you are trained in balancing, correct?
I am.
Okay. So you slide down the banister.
Behold my baby.
I got second quarter of the night.
He's gonna be insufferable now.
More so than usual.
More so than usual.
Ta-da!
What are you doing?
So we're using something other than the skill we used previously, right?
Yes, please.
Oh man, this sucks. I am not made for this.
Well, the good
Think
news
your
is
way
that you
out
get
of it
this
there.
was an exceptionally easy one before I pulled this rule on you more frequently.
I've got a great ability for this. There's no way I can be inconspicuous right now.
You
Go
could be.
for it.
All right.
What's your
What's the
your skill?
ability?
It's called blend in.
Okay.
And basically you just kind of become a face in the crowd.
So basically what you do
You
is
stuff the dragons under your coat and walk away.
Which works out great until I get chomped in the ribs or have flaming armpits.
Well, you're just going to have to tough it out there, Dad.
Yeah, actually, Michael, deception is kind of what I had in mind for this one.
I don't see why you can't try that. I mean, it might get you a snap or two, but it's probably worth a little bit of pain.
I mean, you have to suffer for your art, Scott. Being a parent is pain.
All right. Yeah, we'll just do a blend in.
Okay.
That's a cool skill, though.
It is a pretty cool skill. Let me find it again. I had it. It was here. Flavor.
Flavor text is fun.
There we go. When you blend in, creatures still see you, but they attach no importance to your presence for about a minute. While blending in, you are specialized in stealth and speed defense tasks.
Okay. So you are specialized in stealth for this. So
Hooray.
go ahead and roll stealth. And you haven't used stealth yet, so that's fine.
Excellent.
Plus, you're using an ability, so I would probably let it go anyways.
Here, let's give you an XP.
Okay.
Because that seems like unruly dragons to me.
What did you roll?
1?
Yeah, it would have been unruly dragons for certain.
Yeah, that's way better. 14.
14. Okay, so you walk out the front doors, right past a couple of the guys who are watching the doors for apparently a man and woman and 4 dragons.
Because,
I've only got 2, so I'm clearly not that guy.
Well, you don't appear to have any because you got them tucked up under your jacket.
Right?
Despite the fact that one of them is clawing uncomfortably, you walk past him
You walk
more or less
casually. Good job.
nonchalantly. And you stroll casually around the building. Monica, between dropping floors at a rapid, climb drop and then sliding the banister the rest of the way down,
Yes.
you put quite a bit of distance between you and the lumbering captain who is thumping down the stairs trying to keep up with you.
Okay.
That peg
but you
leg
hit-
will only get him so far.
I know,
He
right?
doesn't have a peg leg. He only has one eye. Depth
That's
perception
because
is
he hasn't met the babies yet.
depth perception on the
We'll get
stairs
there.
is terrible, so that's why he's coming slow. You hit the door and you head out, and this guy walks up to you. And it takes you almost a moment to realize that as you're kind of coming around the corner that you're meeting up with Zotch.
Oh, because Colbin doesn't look like himself. Dude, I almost didn't recognize you, really?
That's the point. These guys are digging into me something fierce. Let's go.
Okay. Love is pain, honey. Love is pain.
Go ahead and call that 3 points of might. But definitely worth it.
So we got little flaps everywhere.
You let him down it's a couple of scratches. It'll be all right.
That's
but
gonna sting.
Yeah, it is.
nothing terribly deep. Fortunately, none of them were apparently hungry enough to take a bite.
Oh, man. When they start eating their parents, that's bad.
Yeah.
Apparently the cow was good. All right, let's see if we can find somewhere to... I don't know. Let's see if Liar has any ideas. I mean, somebody obviously wanted these dragons. I don't know that it's going to be a good idea, but I don't know what else to do.
I mean, this can't continue.
You're right.
So you go to find Liar.
Yeah.
She runs a small shop down in the bazaar, and so you head over that way. It is basically a shop of like whatevers. Like whatever it is that she buys, she sells.
All right.
It's all sorts of things. You head in there and she kind of rolls her eyes. What do you need?
Look, we have 4 baby dragons that somebody obviously wants. At this point, we have 4 baby dragons that somebody wants.
They wanted them unbonded.
Well, there's only so much we can do with 4 baby dragons.
What do you want from me?
Names.
All right. Make sure I've got the right one here. Yeah. She's like, all right, I had a buyer on Pasubo. Maybe you'll be able to get something for partially or your situation.
All right. What kind of transportation would we need to get there? I'm just asking you as a GM.
A ship.
A ship?
Yeah. Pasubo is the dwarven home moon.
All right.
It is basically an entire moon that is a inhospitable desert. In the warm places, it's too warm, and in the cold places, it's too cold. And it is arid and dry.
Just where I would expect to find dwarves.
They live mostly underground, so the arid, dry, and desert doesn't matter a whole lot.
All right.
Most of the major traffic goes through the hot portion of the desert.
Okay.
There's like tent cities up around the actual like access caves. Whereas on the cold side, most of the shelters are like old derelict ships that have been basically repurposed as housing and temporary places for visitors, because the dwarves, while they let people into their caves, keep the caves mostly dwarven.
Okay. All right, so since we're not dwarves, I mean, our best bet is to try to find transport and get there.
What's the travel time on that look like?
It doesn't really matter.
All right. So
Travel time, it's a red line. It's pulpy, Sword and Planet. It's
Fair.
red
Dun,
line.
dun, dun, dun,
Yes.
dun, dun, dun. Okay, so we get there. Dun, 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 dun.
But you actually have to arrange for transport.
So we steal a ship and then have to use the inflatable life raft to get.
We'd like to
away.
avoid any imperial
Real
entanglements. No questions asked.
Yes. So we try to find
So-
ourselves another scoundrel.
so
who's
You're gonna
flying
book.
that way.
So you're gonna book transport, basically.
Yes, hopefully with a hottie with a big fur co-pilot.
Or we could just steal the captain's ship again.
We can do that too. I mean, he's not on it. He's not using it at the moment. We try to find ourselves some transportation.
Well, actually, it does so happen that you can find that Rhett Haddock,
That's an interesting name. Rhett Haddock.
pilot of the Riven.
This sounds suspiciously made up.
He is He is a towering individual with a fairly youthful appearance. He smiles and
Tall dude.
yeah.
Right, Michael?
Sounds fishy. Everybody sounds fishy, dude. Have you noticed we're actually playing a role-playing game? Everything is questionable.
Fishy, 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 fish.
If we had fish, we could feed these dragons. That would be great.
And if he
Okay.
double crosses us,
We're going to feed him to the dragons. That's going to be our answer for every problematic person. He's a problem, feed him to the dragons.
That's
like
why you keep
pigs.
not doing it.
They're like the pigs from
Everything.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Snatch.
No, snatch.
Snatch. My bad.
Wrong Guy Ritchie.
Wrong. Sorry. What do you want? I've drank quite a bit of rum.
Why is all the rum gone?
It's not.
It's not.
I told him I wouldn't drink it all, but it was
I know,
problematic.
but it was funny.
I can
Yes,
get
it
the
was.
other rum.
I don't need it anymore.
Okay.
I think that's a bad idea.
That's a terrible plan. So, Rhett, we need transport to, I forget where.
We need transport to the dwarven moon of Placebo.
Pasubo.
At least you didn't say placenta. What is the name of this?
No, I've been covered in enough of that for one day.
What is the name of this planet? This moon we're looking for?
Pasubo.
Placebo.
P-O-S-U-B-O.
P-O-S-U-B-O. Pasubo. All right, got it. We need transport to Pasubo.
I can probably arrange it.
You
Are
got,
those things coming too?
yeah, you got any sides of beef in stock by chance?
No, but
I suggest it.
you can bring your own feed for your animals.
We'll do our best. You have anybody on your crew you don't like? We'll just keep that in mind.
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay. We make sure we have enough meat.
Sorry, she's a new mom. She's very cranky.
I haven't slept in 6 hours.
You should rectify that. So you guys board the Riven
Okay.
and make your way to Pasubo. And he puts down on the hot, dry, arid portion of the planet.
So is this sort of like the moon where the same side always faces the gas giant?
All right, so this is where I have to admit that I didn't do any of the work on the on the planets. I meant to do this
Michael,
back on episode 1.
Are we going to be facing the gas giant the whole time?
I believe that probably is at least part of it.
Also, I'd like to just take a moment to thank Michael McNeil for helping us write some of this setting. He's been very instrumental in that.
He jumped on this and he gave me some great material for the actual moons.
Michael says, yes, we are. And apparently Michael is busy out in the field, so he doesn't have a life. So thank you, Michael.
He's given me, like, I can tell you the size of it. And what it's got a 80 degree axial tilt.
Did you just steal that from Jupiter? I'm asking Michael if he just stole that from Jupiter.
No, but Michael has been
he's
working
on
hard on this since we announced last week that this is what we were going to do. Michael sent us
he's
bunch of emails.
Yeah, and he is working on some stuff for his own freelance company and his own work, and so he's using us as guinea pigs for systems that he's going to use
Which means we
to
have
help other
free
people.
Stuff.
Neat.
Neat. So
So I'm not kidding when I say thank you,
this is
Michael.
this is really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so he lands you in the desert portion, and basically like I said, it's like tent town.
Okay.
So like all these, they're pretty brightly colored tents, and it is hot and dry and miserable.
Thank God I have 2 dragons that breathe fire. I might be warm.
They love it. They're out basically like burying themselves in the sand, rolling about in it, laying in the sun.
As long as they're not rolling in feces, we're okay.
I imagine they would want the dragons for 2 reasons. One, if it's on the ice side, the cold side of the planet, it's like portable furnaces. If it's on this side of the planet, someone is clearly an overachieving glassblower.
Either that or somebody just really wants dragons for power.
Not at this age.
No, but dwarves live longer than humans, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple hundred years, these dragons are going to be juvenile, and then you pass them along to your kids. I mean, somebody's going to have 4 powerful dragons.
They're supposed to be smart, too, so I guess that only lasts until they decide to take over themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, you love your parents until they're gone, and then you still love them. Well, I mean, not your parents. Not your parents. I mean, maybe not your parents, but my parents. I love my parents. I don't know. I mean, dwarves live, what, a couple hundred? 5 years?
Not as long as dragons, but longer still.
I mean, you get a couple hundred years out of a baby dragon until they're juvenile, they're still going to mess some stuff up. I mean, look at these 4. They're so cute and destructive.
You know what we need? A laser pointer.
No. I don't think that's going to work. I'm pretty sure that's not going to work.
I'm going to buy one.
Okay, well, I'm sure there's going to be a bazaar around here somewhere with a laser pointer. You let me know how that works out for you.
I'm gonna.
Okay. So we let him buy a laser pointer. How's that work for him?
You can probably find a wand that'll do that.
Done.
It's basically a wand that does light, and you can give it a couple of different commands. So it can do...
It's an oddity.
Like you can get it to do basically like a narrow beam, or you can widen it out so that it's almost like a lantern.
That's useful.
Kinda.
I'm pretty sure it's not going to be of any value to the dragons, but okay.
It is actually an artifact.
You have...
It has a depletion rate of 1 in 100.
Cool.
Nice.
Wand of
Kitty cat.
And since you guys
laser
are
pointer.
right, and since you guys are actually tier 4, I'm not going to worry so much about money until it gets to being ridiculous things.
Okay.
So I'm going to assume for minor things, you guys have enough money. That's probably the only like more expensive thing you could afford at the moment until we actually get some real money.
Okay.
So I try out the wand of laser pointer.
It does seem to get their attention, at least for a little bit. All 4 of them like playing with it, particularly in the current climate. They're all very happy and excited. And
They're so cute. Oh my God, they're so cute.
Turn it off.
They hate you.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
You can either stay outside in the tent area and get yourself space, or you can try to find someplace in the actual dwarven city. But her contact is definitely inside.
We definitely want to be
We
inside.
should go inside then.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to like try to hire somebody to go and speak to her to go.
No, nobody's going to want to talk to anybody but us because we've got baby dragons.
Okay.
I mean, anybody we negotiate with is going to cost us money, so it's not worth doing that.
Are we in the tent areas? Are we among dwarves already?
There are a bunch of dwarves out here. Out here in the tents, it's a lot of different races. Dwarves are still in the majority, but they're not the only ones.
Okay. Are they when they're here? Are they speaking like a sort of common, or are they still speaking dwarfish?
It's a kind of common.
Okay.
It's a very there's a couple of hybrids kind of spoken, but it is more common than dwarven. You're pretty certain the more you go into the mountain, it's going to become more into the earth. It's going to become more.
Well, I have decipher, which means that I can figure out the written word. I'm not sure.
I have Babel.
Good job.
So all I've got to do is hear it for a little bit, and I'll just start picking it up.
Okay.
That was not on my list of options, but if it's written down, I've got you covered.
Okay. So.
What a team!
It's like we planned this or something.
So you go into the mountain or into the earth, and it is actually, it kind of like does this like gentle slope in, and as it does, you can see that there's like rock work that's mounted up around the outside. It's, stonework's been done. All the stones are laid together very tightly. You don't see any sign of like mortar or anything. But as you go down, you start to see that as you go down, it slopes down and it comes to this like double doors that are 15 feet tall, 10 feet across.
So like dwarves built it.
Yeah, like they built these doors ridiculously large. They're half your height, and they have like seriously overcompensated.
Well, they are dwarves. I mean, I love dwarves, but
Currently, the doors do stand open, and they lead you into what basically, as you kind of head down this like cavern road that is like all carved, it leads you into what is almost like the Mines of Moria in their prime. If the Mines of Moria were brightly painted like Egypt in its prime.
okay.
Like all the stonework, none of it is unpainted. Everything is in bright colors.
Technicolor.
There's
Who knew
gold.
That dwarves were garish.
There's like, gold gold banding on the clothes. Everybody is in like lifelike colors, and they stand, all the dwarven figures stand about 20 feet tall. So these, basically you walk in and all these dwarven kings are staring down at you from the walls.
Dwarves are tacky. We pet him.
Do you suppose when they get into fights, great big colorful words like "bam" and "pow" just magically appear? That would be terrible.
Let's not do that. I think that's a terrible plan. So, we look about for the person that we're looking for. I mean, look for the local market. I mean, chances are the person we're looking for is not there, but we're going to eventually have to find somebody
Right.
to ask.
It's basically all you've been given is a name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to the market, you can probably ask around.
We do that.
So you want to give me a diplomacy roll?
No, I don't. Scott does.
That's what I figured, because he's the speaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
It sounds like
Are you trying to figure? Yeah, persuade works.
Let's see. Lowered by 4, got a 9.
Okay.
And I'm going to start just by using the name only.
Okay.
because I want the dwarves to start really talking so that I can start picking up the language.
Okay. So you are looking for Dorth.
That sounds like a horrible direction.
Yes, it does.
But you come across a kind of plump dwarf. He's kind of got a. He's not your typical dwarf that you're used to seeing. He's got a plump face, cherub-like cheeks, broad mustache instead of a beard,
He's so cute.
and
Must be wealthy.
Must be.
he is working in a magic science shop.
Dwarves and magic? What?
Yep.
Sounds dangerous.
Explains why he wants some dragon eggs, though.
And he's, you're like, I'm looking for this guy, Dorth. And he says, he yammers at you in Dwarven for a little bit, and very smiles, and clearly is trying to like sell you stuff. But as you like talk to him for a bit, you start to kind of get the gist of it, and he tells you that Dorth is one of the high nobles. He's in the he's one of one of the higher nobility, and that you might be able to find him at the courthouse, at least during the day. As far as where he lives, I don't have any idea where you'd find him there. Would you like to buy one of these gizmos?
We have a dragon. We'll trade you. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
He's trying to sell.
You're not
stuff.
You're not certain what he's trying to offer you. You can't quite pick up the exact words, but he is offering you something that's going to cost about 50 gold pieces, or a single gold bar.
I'm not sure what the translation for dinglehopper is.
We don't want one. No.
Pass him a coin for the information, though.
Okay. He takes the coin.
Is it day, night? Can
Thank
we
him.
tell?
By the clocks, it's probably nighttime to you.
Okay.
But day and night are kind of funny on the moons,
It's like being in a casino.
because a lot of the moons are tidal locked. Some of them orbit funny.
Okay, so Olara
So
has,
day and night have different meanings out here than they do on Earth.
So Olara has several younger siblings, and she knows that the babies have gone too long without eating, so we need to find some food. And possibly somewhere to sleep, because it's been many hours since anybody here has slept.
You didn't sleep on the trip?
We weren't on the trip for very long.
You
And-
probably slept a little on the trip.
Yes. But we have to choose between eating, sleeping, and showering, and we chose sleeping, so we need to do feeding now.
So yeah, pass him a coin for the information, thank him for that, and then ask if there's a food vendor.
Basically gives you directions to where you can get decent food.
Decent raw meat. We'll figure
Butcher?
that out.
And a couple stalls over from there, you can get the food.
Excellent.
And basically, it's a lot of like the actual, once you start moving around, it is like a city. Some of the buildings are actually the stonework. It's like a multi-tiered city, and so at the lowest level where the market kind of is, and then you move up the walls into the upper places, and some of the upper buildings actually extend over like bridges. So some of the manses are actually suspended over, And there are also several buildings that are basically lower income housing that are lower down that do the same kind of thing. You have lots of people living in the same bridge. And they'll extend over to like a pillar, and then they'll extend over further, and kind of they break up the whole thing in different tiers, and so it's kind of got this like whole weird three-dimensional geometry to their city space. So you end up in basically a little stone shop. You go in, you get some food for the dragons, and you decide to probably try to find a place to sleep for the night.
Probably plan.
Sleep in shifts.
Yes.
So that each of you can keep an eye on the dragons, make sure nobody sets the house on fire.
Yes.
Fortunately, we seem to be in a city made of stone, so it's a little less troublesome.
Yes.
A little.
And I actually have something called Stand Watch, which allows me to remain alert for 8 hours.
Okay.
But yeah, sleeping is good.
Okay.
Who knew that taking that? Who
You're
knew
gonna
that
sleep
taking
with-
that would
so
be
you're like-
necessary?
You're like literally sleeping with one eye open.
I am sleeping.
So we're going to call it kind of there for the night, I think.
Okay.
But as we call it, we're going to pan out from the city,
Oh no.
Oh dear.
and a very large ship lands out in the desert space, and the doors open up, and this enormous ramp descends, and out marches not one, but two full-grown dragons.
Shit.
Good night, everybody.
Well,
This has
was-
been Marlowe House Presents. I'm Andrew Marlowe.
I'm screwed.
And I'm dead.
Good night.